All right, thank you everyone for completing our poll. I'd like to officially welcome everyone to our second annual Student Accounts webinar here at Student Financial Solutions, otherwise known as SFS. Student Financial Solutions is the primary billing office here at UCSD and is responsible for the management of all student accounts on campus. Student Financial Solutions is also made up of 5 different distinct units: Student Account Services, University Billing Services, Central Cashier's Office, Loan Administration, and Campus Cards. Tonight's webinar will speak primarily about the Student Account Services unit of our office. My name is Andrew Weidler, and I am an analyst here at Student Financial Solutions. There's my camera, forgot to turn it on. And a few ground rules and housekeeping items before we get started. First, I ask that you remain muted, and if you have a busy background, that you keep your camera off throughout the webinar. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, we encourage you to ask them through the Zoom Room chat feature. We will have a Q&A component at the end of the webinar where we will try to answer as many questions as possible. Lastly, we would like to note that this webinar is hosted by Student Financial Solutions and not the Financial Aid and Scholarships Office, which is a separate office. As a result, the scope of this webinar will not include financial aid awarding, aid revisions, or FAFSA information. So what I'd like to do before we start the actual presentation is have one of our student employees give a brief testimony, if you will, of her experience at UCSD and how her role as a student employee has helped educate her about billing matters here at UCSD. So her name is Catalina Aguilar, and I will kick it over to her now.
Hi everyone, my name is Catalina Aguilar. I am a 4th year transfer student here at UCSD. I am majoring in ecology, behavior, and evolution. I've been working at Student Financial Solutions for approximately 1 year now. I started around last July. When I first transferred here, it was super overwhelming, like just having to deal with both the academics and financial aspects of UCSD. It's an extremely big campus. There are a lot of different offices, a lot of different things to kind of just take in. And I found that when I first started, I had a really hard time navigating all the different pages on TrainLink and trying to figure out where the different resources were that could help answer the questions that I may have had. I found that after really digging in on, the different websites of the different offices within UCSD, like financial aid, registrars, student health services, transportation services, I found that the information that was really on those websites was extremely useful, and it really helped to ease my worries when I was transitioning in. And I just, after starting with Student Financial Solutions, I felt like I even gained a greater insight into all of the information I probably wouldn't have known if I hadn't started working here. So I'm just really excited to share all of the knowledge that I've gained this past year, not only like with the academics, but also with like the financial aspects of Student Financial Solutions. And we are more than welcome to answer any of the questions that you guys may have. I know you probably have a lot, so don't worry about it. Just feel free to put them all in the chat, and we will try to get to them at the end of the PowerPoint. And yeah.
All right. Thank you, Kat. I'm now going to turn it over to my colleague, David Park, who will be doing the actual presentation for the webinar.
Hi, my name is David. I'm an operations analyst here at Student Financial Solutions. I actually started out my career here as a student employee as well. And let me tell you, it's been a lot like this. All these financial aspects of the bill is essentially like another subject. So hope you guys are prepared. This is going to be a presentation about the UCSD billing and payment methods. And like Kat said, if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will try to get to them at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first topic we will be going over during this presentation is your student account, what it is, and what you can find on it. Your student account is a summary of all things related to UC San Diego billing. You can access your student account by logging into TrainLink, going to Financial Tools, clicking Billing and Payment, and going to the View and Pay Bill page. Or you can simply click on the balance or the account details hyperlink found on the Triton Link landing page. From the View and Pay Bill page, you will be taken to Triton Pay, where you will have access to your electronic bill, view your account balance or credit balance, review holds, and find billing due dates for your balance. It is important to note that while UC San Diego runs on a monthly billing cycle, tuition and registration fees are charged on a quarterly basis by default, which happens shortly after you enroll in your quarterly classes. There are several reasons why we run on a monthly cycle. One, there is an option to enroll in a monthly payment plan for tuition and registration fees, and we'll get into that later in the presentation. Number two, if you will be living on campus, a monthly payment plan option is offered for housing fees. And number three, students can charge their students' account with any purchases made at the bookstore, library, Sunshine Market, and etc., which will be due during the next billing cycle. As I mentioned in the previous slide, there are a couple different options to access your student account. You can click on the account balance or account details hyperlink, and you can go up to financial tools, click on billing and payment, and then go to the view and pay bill page. If you have any holds, they will show up on the box right next to the account balance box on the Triton Link landing page. This is where you will find all of your current holds, whereas if you look in Triton Pay, you will only see financial holds that can be cleared by making a payment. Next to your holds, you will see the last box, which will state whether you have the health insurance waiver or not. You must apply for the health insurance waiver and it must get approved for it to display on the student account. While students are allowed to freely roam through their student account and contact our office, parents or any other party who may want access to your student's account will need to become authorized payers to do so. To add an authorized payer, the student will need to go to their Triton Link, click on Financial Tools, go to Billing and Payment, and click Add an Authorized Payer. They will then enter the authorized payer's first and last name and their email. An email with instructions on how to set up the parent portal account will be sent immediately to the email address. FYI, these emails may appear in the junk folder. Once you are added as an authorized payer, you have access to the authorized payer portal where you can view and pay the student's bill, review student account activity, update payment profiles and contact information, enroll in the Triton registration installment plan, which is the monthly plan for tuition, and load money into your students' Triton Cash accounts. Additionally, you will receive monthly electronic bill notices if there is activity on the account, and you are able to contact our office to ask specific student account questions. This is the authorized payer portal where payers can log in and view their student's bill. Please note that this portal is different from the student portal. Authorized payers can only access the parent portal while students can only access their student account on Triton Link. Up next, we will be showing you an in-depth look at Triton Pay, where students can view and pay their bill, view their account history and billing statements, and access resource links. The first area where I want to focus your attention is the alert call-out box. This will notify you of any outstanding balance, if you have a credit balance, or if you have any holds. On the far right side is the button you would click if you want to make a payment. Next, you have the account history link where you will be able to see an itemized breakdown of all of your transactions. Lastly, you have an option to view up to a year's worth of past billing statements. If for whatever reason you need billing statements from before a year ago, you can request them through our office. This is your official billing statement. This becomes available to you every month that you have activity on your account. The activity can either be a payment or a charge, so don't be frightened if you receive an e-bill notice and you thought you had made a payment. The top portion has a statement date, your PID, the due date, and the amount due. The bottom will include a breakdown of all the charges and payments that have been assessed to your account since the release of the prior month's billing statement. It is important to note that the billing statement is a static statement that is not updated after it is released. So the amount due at the bottom will not include any payments, waivers, or financial aid that is posted to your account after it is released. If you want an accurate reflection of what is currently due on your account, I recommend that you look at the alert callout box balance on the My Account Summary page. On the account history page, you have several different viewing options. You can view your statement transactions, which include all transactions on the billing statement, unpaid transactions, which will show all charges that have not been paid for, current month transactions that will show the transactions that have been assessed to your account this month, future Triton registration installment plan transactions, which will show any trip installments that will be due at a later time. And finally, you can view your full account history, which will include all transactions posted to your account since you first began at UC San Diego. You also have the option to download your full account history. If you are a financial aid recipient, the aid may not appear in the billing statement right away. The pending awards are the different financial aid loans, grants, departmental fee payments, or TA fee remissions that you may be receiving for the quarter. Typically, because the awards aren't officially dispersed into your account until it is closer to the due date or after the due date, the pending awards will automatically be taken into account to provide the adjusted balance. If the amount is positive, you must pay that balance by the due date. If the amount is negative, that signifies that the financial aid has paid the entire balance due, and the student will be eligible for a refund for the displayed amount. If you would like to make an e-check or credit card payment, once you select the payment options button, select the first option that reads e-check or credit card to be taken to the custom payments page. The custom payments page presents a number of different payment options. You can choose to select your total account balance, you can pay a percentage of your balance, you can pay a specific amount, or by clicking the Pay Selected Charge button, you can select which specific charge you want to pay for. For example, if you only wanted to pay for tuition and registration fees and not your housing fees, you can do that, or vice versa. If you would like to make an international payment or wire transfer using our international payment partners, which are either Western Union or Flywire, you will select the second option that reads Buy International Wire. The payment confirmation page you are taken to will allow you to make a selection on the two different international payment options. Once you select either Flywire or Western Union, you will be given additional information on each payment method. You can then click on the Continue button that will redirect you to either the Western Union or Flywire webpage. Please note that when you select the international payment option, the next screen that you are taken to is the payment confirmation page and not the custom payment page. This occurs because these international payments must be completed on either the Western Union or Flywire site. As a result, you are unable to make a selected charge payment. However, you are still able to choose the amount that you would like to pay. The only thing you wouldn't be able to do is designate what charges the money is directed towards. Selecting the Flywire option will redirect you to the Flywire website where you can enter the country or region you want to make a payment from, the amount you want to pay, as well as several other steps to complete the payment. Depending on the location and payment method you select, it can take 10 to 12 business days for the payment to post to your student account. With that being said, if you do plan on making an international payment, you should do so with knowledge that it may take up to 12 business days to post. The university does not accept the date of initiating the payment as the date of payment. When you select the Western Union option, you will be redirected to the Western Union website, where you can enter the country or region you want to make the payment from, the payment method, and the rest of the information required to successfully make a payment. As with the Flywire option, this international payment method can also take up to 12 business days to post to your student account from the date you originally submit the payment online. In recent years, there has been an increase in online scams that target college students by promising a reduction in tuition and registration fees if a third-party service is used to pay their fees. International students have been targeted more frequently, and scammers have especially targeted students using the popular app WeChat. You should also beware of housing scams, particularly on websites like Craigslist. Certain examples of scams are the following. Advertised pricing is much lower than other similar properties. The person trying to rent you the property claims to be an agent for the property owner who is too busy, out of the country, etc. The owner or renter requires you to sign the lease before you see the rental property, or you are asked to wire the deposit money before you have seen the rental property. So what can you do to protect yourself from these scams? You should never share your online credentials or financial information with anyone. Always use official UCSD payment methods, and do not respond to third-party solicitations for tuition fee payments. UCSD does not offer any discounts for tuition or housing fees. If you are an international student who has been targeted, notify the International Student and Programs Office and they will identify helpful resources for you. If you are unable to make a payment using any of the methods described previously, you can make a payment directly to the cashier's office, either by visiting the office in person or mailing in a check. Please note that you can only use the payment options listed on the presentation. So cash, which is made in person only, personal checks, money orders, cashier's checks, or traveler's checks. Checks should always be made payable to UC Regents and include your PID. If you will be mailing in a payment, the mailing address is UCSD Cashier's Office, and the address is 9500 Gilman Drive, mail code number 0009. It is very important that you include the mail code as it specifies the exact department location in which to send the check to. Please note that due to COVID-19, the cashier's office location is closed until further notice. However, you can drop off your payment using the payment drop-off box located on the south side of the cashier's office. Lastly, UCSD does not accept any overpayments. You can only pay for the current charges listed on your account. 529 payments or college savings funds are prepaid educational savings plans that are set aside for future college costs. The cashier's office processes these payments, and in order to successfully make a payment using these funds, you will need to provide your 529 administrator a billing statement showing your account balance and then provide them the cashier office's mailing address, as they will need to mail in a check payment. UCSD does not accept wire transfers from 529 plans. The check payment must include your name and PID. And also, UCSD, since we do not accept any overpayments, the 529 plan administrator cannot mail in a check for the full year. They must send payments each quarter. Third-party sponsored students are those who receive tuition and fee payments from an outside organization. A different office may facilitate third-party billing depending on the sponsor. There are 3 third-party groups. Number 1, for students sponsored by domestic organizations, for example, other US universities, our office, Student Financial Solutions, manages the billing and collection of the fees for these students. For international students sponsored by non-US agencies, these accounts are managed by the International Students and Programs Office. For students receiving Veterans Affairs benefits, or VA GI bills, these accounts are managed by the VA coordinator at the registrar's office. If you will be receiving any scholarships from outside agencies, meaning it is not part of your financial aid package, the scholarship agency must send the check directly to our office. Once we receive the scholarship, our office will process it, which will then generate an email to the student's UCSD email address that will let you know we have received and processed your scholarship check. From that point, we send a report to the Financial Aid and Scholarship Office that lets them know that you have a scholarship that they can post to your student account. The entire process from the time we receive the check to when it is posted to your account typically takes 5 to 7 business days during peak times, which is usually at the beginning of each quarter. If we are not receiving a high volume of checks at the time, it may take 2 to 3 business days. Student Financial Solutions also encompasses the Campus Cards Office, which is responsible for issuing student ID cards. If you will be living on campus, the ID card will be preloaded with dining dollars, which you can use at the various college dining halls and markets. Additionally, you have the option to load Trident Cash into the card. Authorized payers can also load Trident Cash money onto the card via the Authorized Payer portal. Trident Cash can be used at Price Center and a number of approved restaurants and markets outside campus. You can also use your student ID card to pay for items at the bookstore, Sunshine Market, and campus printers, and the charges will be assessed to your student account. You can pay them off via Trident Link once the charge is available for viewing in the billing statement. It is important to note that the purchases you make with your student ID card, whether it be a laptop or a book, will be due on the next billing cycle. For example, if you purchase something on September 15th, it will be due on the October billing due date. Next up, we will be going over the Trident Registration Installment Plan, which is the monthly payment plan we have for tuition and registration fees. TRIP will allow you to pay for your tuition and registration fees in 3 monthly installments instead of having to pay the lump sum at the beginning of each quarter. This means you will not need to make the full tuition payment by the quarterly due date. This is a great option for students not receiving enough financial aid to cover all of their tuition and registration fees. It is also a great option for those who simply want to split up their payments. TRIP is only available for fall, winter, and spring quarters. You enroll via TriLink or the authorized payer portal for a $40 fee per quarter. You will not be able to enroll in TRIP during summer sessions. TRIP covers only tuition, non-residential tuition, registration fees, and student health insurance. So basically, it will combine all of those fees and divide them into 3 monthly installments. For example, for fall 2020, if you enroll in TRIP, you will pay for 1/3 of your tuition and registration fees on the September billing due date, the second third in October, and the last third on the November due date. TRIP does not cover housing or other miscellaneous fees. However, if you want to pay your housing fees on a monthly basis as well, given that you live on campus, you can change your housing plan via the housing portal. UCSD issues refunds to students who have made a cash or check overpayment, receive excess financial aid, make a credit card overpayment, receive a housing credit, or receive stipends. Refunds must be requested from our office via the Services and Support portal. These refunds are issued under the student's name regardless of who made the payment. To find out if you have a refund available on your account, you will need to go to Triton Link and then Triton Pay. From the My Account summary page on Triton Pay, the alert banner will state that there is a credit balance available. If there is a credit balance available, you can contact or visit our office to initiate the refund. Any available credit that is not used to pay for charges will be refunded automatically 90 days following the date of payment. Once the credit is refunded, meaning you no longer have that credit on the account, it will appear on the account history page under the charge column as a financial aid refund, a cash check, stipend, or housing transaction. The reason why the transaction will display on the charge column is because when a refund is initiated, the negative credit balance has to be offset by a positive charge. You can receive your refund in a variety of ways. The recommended option is direct deposit transfer to a bank account. This will only occur if you enroll in direct deposit via Triton Link. This will require that you either have a US checkings or savings account. If a student is not associated with a direct deposit, a paper check will be mailed to your current mailing address, which is usually where the student resides while attending the university. If there is no active current mailing address, it will be sent to the permanent mailing address, which is usually the family's address. When a graduate student is awarded monthly stipends and is not enrolled in direct deposits, checks will be sent to the student's graduate department. If the refund originates from a credit card payment, the refund will be sent back to that same credit card balance. Please note that the parents cannot request refunds on behalf of students. As mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, UCSD runs on a monthly billing cycle. So while you are by default charged tuition and registration fees on a quarterly basis, there are other purchases or charges you may incur that are due on a monthly billing cycle. For fall quarter, which is comprised of September, October, and November, each month has a different billing due date. The September billing due date is when your tuition and registration fees, as well as housing if you live on campus, will be due. If you are paying your full tuition and registration fees, as well as housing for the quarter in September, you do not have to worry about the October or November billing due dates, unless you charge something to your account during the middle of the quarter. Also worth mentioning, if you have outside health insurance, for example, if you are on your parents' plan, you can apply to waive USHIP, which is UCSD's health insurance plan. You can apply via Triton Link by going to the Financial Tools tab and then clicking the Health Insurance Waiver option. If you have specific questions regarding your student account, do not hesitate to contact our team by either submitting a ticket using the UC San Diego Services and Support portal or sending an email to sfs@ucsd.edu. You can also find various knowledge-based articles via the UC San Diego Services and Support portal, whether you are a student, parent, or UCSD community member.
All right, thank you, David. So this concludes the PowerPoint section of our webinar. A few additional notes that I want to make you all aware of. The first is that we will make the presentation available on our website sometime probably later this week or next week, so you can refer back to it if you want more information or see some of the slides that we showed you tonight. We also have an Instagram page where you can follow us, which is at UCSD-SFS. And that resource page is there at the bottom of this page, but you can also search for it online. You can just look up UCSD SFS resource page, and it should take you right to that page. We also, on that resource page, we have a list of additional helpful resources, which you can access and get more information. And what we'll do right now is that we are just finalizing some of the questions that you asked during the presentation. So I just ask that you bear with us for a few moments while we get that together. Please feel free to continue to ask questions in the chat box while we get those together. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so I'm looking at the chat right now and I do see that there are some questions. So I know some questions were already answered by our staff members, but I will be explaining some of the answers here. So starting with, when will I be able to know if I received the Blue and Gold Scholarship? So since we aren't the financial aid office, we don't really have too much information about that, but I would recommend contacting their office directly. The financial aid's office's number is financial aid's email address is finaid, FINAID @ucsd.edu. So, let's see. So in regards to the question regarding, could anyone explain the terms balance and holds? The tuition fees for next year, I don't think they've officially been finalized yet, but they should be finalized sometime in July, so hopefully soon. Regarding holds, usually the holds are due to past due payments of like trip fees. If there was a past due balance, let's say if someone purchased a laptop using their student account for like $1,000 and that wasn't paid for in that month due date, then another hold can be placed regarding that. There are different types of holds, but all that information should be explained in our website, sfs.ucsd.edu. Regarding how do I get to see that page, the account, you can only see it once your student is active in UC San Diego's system. So if your student is enrolled for fall quarter, the SIR deposit was paid, then the student should have access to the Triton Link account. From then on, you can authorize yourself as that authorized payer so that you have access to your parent portal. So just to reiterate again about TRIP transaction, TRIP divides up your quarterly tuition into monthly payments. So for the fall quarter, you would pay monthly, September, October, November. The winter quarter would be December, January, February, and the spring quarter would be March, April, May. And it should be about a third of the entire balance for tuition each month. If you'd like to pay by e-check, you don't need to set it up ahead, essentially, but when you do make a payment, it will ask you for the bank account number and routing number. So once you input that, you can store that as a payment profile so that you don't have to re-enter this information, but we would require you to input those two account numbers so that you can make an e-check payment. So regarding the question, can we retain the money that can be refunded for future payments? Technically, yes, you can, as long as it's before the 90 days. So let's say that a payment was made on October, and for some reason that money was refunded back to the student account as an available credit balance. As long as the next tuition or next charge is assessed to the account before 90 days, then the money will automatically be used to pay for those charges. If by chance a student graduated and left a $100 credit balance on the account, then 90 days after that, we would be refunding that money, as we would expect the student to not see any more charges. Yes, regards to the fall quarter start date, by the way, it is a quarter system, it is not a semester system, because quarter system is the fall, winter, spring, and kind of the summer quarter. Semester is usually the fall and spring semesters only. But yes, the quarter does start on September 28th, but the first day of classes will be October 1st. Thank you, Precious. Regarding the UCSD health plan, I don't know the rates for the 2020 to 21 academic year, but for last year, it was $680 per quarter. So yes, this health fee can also be waived if you do fill out the health fee waiver on Triton Link. So you do have that option, but if the student is insured under UCSD, the student will have access to all of the health offices on campus. We also do offer a reduced health fee. It's called RAFT. And last year, the price was $65 each quarter. But by being in RAFT, the student should still be able to access the health offices, even though they're covered under the parents' health insurance. The fees for using a credit card. So along with the total balance of the account, there is a 2.75% fee that's charged by the credit card processor. So this isn't refundable. So both the balance as well as the 2.75% has to be available for the payment to go through. Okay. So Tyler asked, I know my financial aid plan and how much I owe for the entire year, but when will I know exactly how much I will owe in tuition and housing this quarter? Please look out for the September billing statement, as that's when you'll see the tuition and housing fees for the first time. Depending on your plan, you can choose, for tuition, you can pay either quarterly or monthly. For housing, you can pay monthly, quarterly, or for the whole full year. So depending on your plan, that'll be when you'll make these payments. But yes, for more information, go to our website, or for the housing plan, go to the housing website. Where do we obtain the loans listed on the financial page on our applicant portal? So when the financial aid award package is offered to the student, there should be the eligible total aids that the student can receive. So those can range from grants, subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, Parent Plus loans. I don't know if that award package has been sent out yet, but it should be sent out within this month or by August. But for more information, financial aid should have more help for that. For direct deposit, which account should you connect, checkings or savings? It's honestly your preference. It's whatever your account basically is. So we just have two options so that you can choose either checkings or savings. There's not really that big of a difference between the two.
I'm going to interrupt David for a quick moment. I want to launch a second poll since I'm noticing attendees are starting to leave the webinar. I want to try to get a little bit final feedback from everyone. So if you wouldn't mind completing the second poll before you leave, we will continue to answer questions. You're welcome to stay online. Our staff will continue answering questions through the chat feature, and David will continue doing an incredible job answering the questions out loud as well.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so for the question, does financial aid cover overall cost of attendance or just tuition? That is based off of your family's portion for their cost of attendance. I forgot the specific term. The estimated cost of attendance. So that's the amount that the family will be expected to pay for, but technically financial aid will be determined based off of the FAFSA application and yeah, basically that. Student loans are usually provided by the financial aid office, but please contact them to see if you can be eligible for anything else. E-check payments, usually it'll show up right as you make the payment. So technically it would clear on your bank account balance in about 3 business days after you initiate the payment. But on our end, if you make a payment on the due date, it will be considered paid. What type of different installment plans do you have for tuition and how much does each cost? There's only one installment plan and it's only for tuition. And we only have that one and it costs $40 each quarter to participate in it. When do freshmen enter the campus? That's usually in the first week. So the fall quarter starts on the 28th, but that week should be the move-in week or the move-in weekend for freshman students. So there should be a specified date for your housing move-in that's given by the housing department. I don't really officially know, but usually I know it's during the weekend. So please contact housing for that. No, so the question is, does it mean that unless the fee is paid through credit card, all refunded money would be sent through check? Can international students register for direct deposit? So no, our most recommended way to send out refunds is through direct deposit. So as long as you enroll in direct deposit, we can send any overpayments to you. The only exception is through credit cards. If you make a credit card payment and a portion of that payment is refunded back to the student, then that refund has to be sent to the credit card balance. But any other forms of payment like cash, international payments, check, e-check, they can all go through direct deposit as a refund. When can you start applying for a trip? I would recommend checking late August, beginning September, or early September to apply for a trip. You can only apply for a trip when the tuition fees are assessed onto the account. So just FYI, tuition fees are initially assessed the month before it's actually due. So for the fall quarter, the fees will post late August and then it'll be due for September and so on. There is no interest charged on monthly installment plans, just the $40 fee. If you don't enroll in TRIP, that means that you're settling for the quarterly plan. So that means that if you're not in TRIP, just pay once for the fall, once for the winter, and once for the spring. I have a 529 account, but it doesn't allow for e-checks and doesn't have a credit card. How can I pay bills with this account? So for that, if you provide the 529 agency with the bill for tuition, the 529 agency will usually look at the bill, see how much the total tuition amount is, and they should send that check payment to the cashier's office. Just letting you know as well, 529 payments can only pay for tuition. It cannot pay for housing. If you don't want to waive the health insurance fee, you don't have to take any action. The health insurance charge will automatically be assessed on each person's account. And the only person, like if you want to waive the fee, then you'll have to fill out the health fee waiver. But if you want to be a part of UCSD's health insurance, you just have to pay the fee and you'll automatically be enrolled. Yeah, and unfortunately, regarding the 529, there's no way to send payments digitally or electronically. Apologize. But yes, even though the fall semester does start October 1st, how our billing system is set up is that the fall will encompass the September, October, and November due dates. Even though the fall semester might start October 1st and end mid-December, those are the months that are relevant to the fall quarter. And then for winter quarter, it'll always be December, January, and February. And spring will always be March, April, May. To answer Ann Lynn's question, will you have access to health offices if you have your own insurance? You will if you participate in RAFT. The RAFT is a reduced access fee, and that also you can apply on Triton Link under financial tools. Correct. So Shannon asked if we have institutional grant money, so like Cal grants, UCSD grants, as well as outside scholarship money that is the primary funding for each quarter, it will be applied automatically at registration. So we're never gonna be sending you money first and then you pay that balance using the money. We'll automatically just put any credits onto the account to pay for any available charges. And depending on the amounts of credits versus the charges, you may be expecting a refund or an adjusted amount to pay for. And all those monies it's all placed into the student account that we discussed on Triton Link or Triton Pay. So RAFT, I wish I could speak to you more about that, but it is something that the student health office could talk about more. All I know is that we charge fees for RAFT on the student account, but for specifications on RAFT, please contact student health at ucsd.edu. Applying for a student loan, please go to financial aid office. I think I should be about the. Yeah, so just letting you know, anything regarding like the RAFT and the waived U-ship fees, if there's any differences with those, just please direct those to student health. Yes, thank you. Usually, if a student has enough financial aid to cover for all the tuition and all the costs, and the excess financial aid is refunded, usually it is automatically refunded by the first week of the start of the quarter. So as of now, if you do have Triton Link set up, I would highly encourage you to enroll in direct deposit. Technically, there is a 14-day verification period for after you enroll in direct deposit, but after that, any refunds can automatically go to that account whenever it's initiated. There's no additional fees for monthly, quarterly, or yearly, just the trip application fee for $40. Okay, it's been explained. Okay. When we'll be able to accept loans? Sometime late July, beginning August. It depends on when the financial aid office sends those award packages to the students. So have the student always monitor the UCSD email for any updates, but yes, it should be available shortly. If you pay yearly for tuition, technically we don't offer that option. You could only pay quarterly as the maximum. So the $40 per quarter is only if you want to pay monthly. So if you pay yearly, don't even worry about the $40. To avoid the 2.75% credit card fee, I would recommend making an e-check payment. It just works similarly as if you write out a check to an organization. We'll just cash that check, but we'll do that all electronically. So based on your experience, are the estimated money you will get from FAFSA accurate? Yes, so I think before I started attending UC San Diego, I was looking at my money and I think it was comparable to what I actually received. I think it's due to extreme circumstances where the estimated money might be different. Maybe like if the FAFSA was completed incorrectly, then that money that may be changed. But usually if all the FAFSA is good and there are no extreme changes, the estimate money should be correct. You cannot pay with direct deposit. Direct deposit is only our way to refund you money. So yes, it will not automatically pull from your bank account that you enrolled in. There are no automatic payments. You'll have to initiate every single payment that's available for payment on Trident Pay. Yes, again, loans will not be sent to the bank account first, and then you'd have to make a payment. They'll be applied to your charges first. And then if there is more financial aid than the charges, then you'll receive a refund of any excess. If your cost of attendance is larger than the amount of financial aid you're receiving, you'll be expected to make an adjusted payment. If you do not enroll in TRIP, you will be charged quarterly. So once for fall, once for winter, and once for spring. Okay. Sorry, one sec. My chart. Thank you. I believe the questionnaires required on my chart is in regards to student health. So please contact student health at ucsd.edu. USHIP, yes, so USHIP is going to be charged each quarter. So not for the spring quarter, not for the summer quarter, but for fall, winter, and spring. Last year, it was $680 per quarter. The official rates have not been projected yet for next year, but it should be pending soon. Just letting you know, if you are covered by USHIP for the spring quarter, that means you will be covered by UC San Diego's health insurance for the entire summer as well. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. Campus housing, that's also charged on the student account. It's just that housing plans are determined through the housing portal itself. So once you go to the housing portal, you'll select how you'd like to pay, like monthly, quarterly, or yearly, the specific dining plan that you'd like to choose, the type of dorm room that you'd want to be in, so like a single or a double, and so on, if it's going to be a dorm or an apartment. But the housing charges will be listed on the student account. So there's only going to be one place where you'll be making tuition and housing payments. So if no US bank account is entered and you don't have direct deposit, then yes, the next available option to receive the refund would be by paper check. So just letting you know, with international students, a lot of the current mailing addresses that are set up are the international addresses they're from. So there are going to be cases where checks may be sent to a foreign country. However, our office also has the option to cancel and reissue checks as well in case you didn't receive it. So you do have multiple options in regards to the refund process. But in regards to your second question, Mark, about if you can reserve the charge for future payments, again, you can only do that if the payment date does not exceed 90 days. If the payment can be used to pay for future charges, it can, as long as the charge is placed before the 90 days of the payment date. You can't make a payment of, like, let's say you have $100,000 that you want to put into your student account and then have it automatically use that credit to pay for your tuition. You cannot do that, as UCSD is technically not a bank, so we want to avoid those situations. But we only expect you to make the full payment for each quarter or each month at a time. Regarding health insurance, please contact Student Health. So let's see. Okay, so I think a lot of the questions have been answered. Let's see. If you will be living on campus, how do you pay for using the laundry facilities? Using the student ID card, you can input money for the laundry plan. And then basically the student would just take the student ID card, swipe it at the laundry facility, and then they'll be able to wash and dry their clothes. So essentially, I feel like I did answer most of the questions. If you still have any questions that I didn't answer, please go ahead and place them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them more.
We're actually going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm actually going to just say if you do still have questions, we do want to hear from you. You can potentially find some of your answers on our website, which is still up on the screen at the moment, sfs.ucsd.edu. You can also reach us on our online portal. If you're a student, parents can reach us at sfs.ucsd.edu. I do want to thank everyone for being here with us tonight and listening to what we have to say. We hope that everyone took a lot of good information from this presentation and will be able to use it throughout their time at UCSD. We will have other webinars throughout the summer as well. So if you want to come back for another one, you're welcome to sign up. Otherwise, we hope to help you in the future. Once we reopen our office, we look forward to helping you in person as well. But until then, hope everyone stay safe, take care, and have a great rest of your summer.